If you're over 70 and you've started feeling dizzy, unsteady, or slightly off balance, there's something important you need to understand. It isn't always just getting older. In fact, dizziness is one of the most misunderstood symptoms in older adults. Many seniors assume it's simply a normal part of aging. They tell themselves, I'm getting older, so of course I'm a little unsteady. But that's not always true. While aging does change the body, persistent dizziness is often a sign that something else deserves attention. And understanding what's happening inside your body may help you prevent one of the biggest threats to independence after 70 falls. Every year, millions of older adults experience falls. Some recover quickly, others suffer broken hips, head injuries, or long hospital stays. And surprisingly, many of those falls begin with something that seems harmless: a brief moment of dizziness, a slight loss of balance, a feeling that the room shifted for just a second. The numbers are worth pausing on. According to the CDC, more than 1 in 4 Americans aged 65 and older falls each year. Falls send about 3 million older adults to the emergency room annually, and they are the leading cause of injury death in this age group, over 38,000 deaths in a single recent year. And here's the detail that matters most. Falling just once doubles your chances of falling again. Today, I want to explain why that happens. Not to frighten you, but to help you understand what your body may be trying to tell you. Because once you understand the most common causes of dizziness after 70, you'll know why it happens, what symptoms deserve attention, and when it's time to speak with your healthcare provider. Let's begin with one of the biggest changes that happens as we age. Our balance system becomes more complex. Most people think balance comes from the legs. It doesn't. Balance is actually the result of several different body systems working together at exactly the same time. Your eyes tell your brain where you are, your inner ears detect movement and changes in position. Tiny sensors in your muscles and joints constantly report where every part of your body is located. Your brain gathers all of that information in a fraction of a second. Then it tells your muscles exactly how to respond. All of this happens so quickly that you never notice it until something changes. After 70, each part of that system naturally becomes a little less efficient. Vision may not be as sharp. The inner ear becomes less sensitive. Reaction times become slightly slower. Muscle strength gradually declines. The brain still performs the same remarkable job, but it has slightly less information to work with. Imagine trying to solve a puzzle with several missing pieces. You can still finish it. It just takes more effort. The same thing happens with balance. Now, let's talk about the symptom itself. Many people use the word dizzy to describe several completely different sensations. Some people mean the room feels like it's spinning. Others feel lightheaded. Some feel weak. Others simply feel unsteady while walking. These are not necessarily the same problem, and that's why doctors ask detailed questions, because the type of dizziness often provides important clues. For example, if the room feels like it's spinning, the inner ear may be involved. If you feel faint when standing up, blood pressure may be involved. If you feel unsteady while walking but not while sitting, muscle weakness or nerve problems may be contributing. The body is giving information. The challenge is learning how to interpret it. One of the most common reasons seniors feel dizzy is surprisingly simple: standing up too quickly. When you're younger, your body adjusts almost instantly. As soon as you stand, blood vessels tighten. Your heart responds, blood flow to the brain stays remarkably stable. At over 70, those adjustments often take a little longer. Gravity pulls blood toward the legs. For a few seconds, less blood reaches the brain. The result? A brief feeling of lightheadedness. Sometimes your vision darkens slightly. Sometimes you feel like you need to grab a chair or wall. Usually, the sensation lasts only a few seconds. But those few seconds can be dangerous because that's when many falls happen. Doctors have a name for this: orthostatic hypotension, which just means your blood pressure drops when you stand. The official definition is a fall of at least 20 points in the top number or 10 points in the bottom number within 3 minutes of standing up. You can check this at home with a blood pressure monitor. Take a reading while lying down, then again 1 minute and 3 minutes after standing. Write the numbers down. If you keep seeing that 20 point or 10 point drop, especially along with symptoms, bring those readings to your doctor. Now, let's talk about blood pressure. Many seniors take medication to lower high blood pressure. These medications save lives. They reduce the risk of heart attack. They reduce the risk of stroke. They protect the kidneys and blood vessels. But sometimes blood pressure becomes a little too low, especially when standing or during hot weather or after dehydration. The medication hasn't suddenly become harmful. The body's circumstances have changed. And that's an important lesson. The body isn't exactly the same every day. Hydration changes, illness changes, temperature changes, activity changes. Everything affects circulation. Now, here's another reason dizziness becomes more common after 70: dehydration. Many older adults simply don't feel thirsty as often as they did when they were younger. The body's thirst mechanism gradually becomes less sensitive. That means some seniors become dehydrated without realizing it. Even mild dehydration reduces blood volume. When blood volume falls, blood pressure may drop. The heart has to work harder to maintain circulation. The brain may briefly receive less blood flow during position changes. That's when dizziness appears. Hot weather makes the problem even worse. So does vomiting, diarrhea, fever, or simply forgetting to drink enough water throughout the day. What surprises many people is how little dehydration is required before symptoms begin. You don't have to become severely dehydrated. Even modest fluid loss can make some older adults feel weak or lightheaded. Now, here's something else many seniors never expect. The ears play a major role in balance. Deep inside each ear are tiny structures filled with fluid. These structures constantly detect movement. They tell the brain whether you're turning, bending, standing, or walking. Sometimes tiny calcium crystals inside the inner ear move out of place. When that happens, brief episodes of spinning dizziness can occur. This condition becomes increasingly common with age. Fortunately, it's often treatable, but many people never realize what's causing it. Instead, they assume they're simply becoming frail. They're not. Their balance system is sending a very specific signal. In fact, this condition has a name: BPPV, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. Benign means it isn't dangerous by itself. Positional means it's triggered by certain head movements: rolling over in bed, looking up at a shelf, bending down. Here's the remarkable part: a trained provider can often treat it right in the office with a simple series of guided head movements called the Epley maneuver, which steers those loose crystals back where they belong. No surgery, and usually no long-term medication. The cure rate is around 80%. And that's just one example of why dizziness should never be ignored without understanding its cause, because the body usually has a reason. The question is learning what that reason might be. And surprisingly, some of the most common causes have nothing to do with the ears or blood pressure at all. Now, let's talk about something that surprises many seniors. Sometimes the problem isn't your balance, it's your muscles. Most people think of muscles as the parts of the body that help us lift groceries, climb stairs, or stand up from a chair. But muscles do something equally important every second you're on your feet. They help keep you upright. Every time you take a step, hundreds of muscles make tiny adjustments that you never notice. The muscles in your feet shift your weight, your calves stabilize your ankles, your thighs support your knees, your hips keep your body centered. Even the muscles in your abdomen and back are constantly working to keep you balanced. When those muscles become weaker with age, your body has to work much harder just to stay steady. This doesn't usually happen overnight. It develops slowly. One year, you notice stairs feel a little harder. The next year, you start using the handrail more often. Then you begin avoiding uneven sidewalks because they make you nervous. Eventually, you realize your confidence isn't what it used to be. Many people assume this is simply an unavoidable part of getting older, but muscle loss is only part of the story. Strength can often be improved, and improving strength often improves balance as well. Now, let's talk about another system that rarely gets any attention. Your nerves, tiny nerves in your feet, constantly send information to your brain. They tell you whether you're standing on carpet, on grass, on concrete, on a slippery floor. They're constantly reporting exactly where your feet are. As we age, those signals sometimes become weaker. Conditions like diabetes can make this even more noticeable. Instead of receiving clear information, the brain receives incomplete information. Imagine trying to walk across a room while wearing thick winter boots that dull every sensation beneath your feet. You can still walk, but you'll probably feel less steady. That's very similar to what happens when nerve function declines. Some seniors describe it as feeling like they're walking on cotton. Others say the ground feels different than it used to. Some notice numbness or tingling. Others don't notice any change at all until they begin losing confidence while walking. These subtle changes deserve attention because they're often gradual, and gradual problems are easy to ignore. Now, let's talk about vision. Most people don't realize how much they depend on their eyes for balance. Try standing on one foot. It's challenging. Now, imagine doing it with your eyes closed. Suddenly, it becomes much harder. That's because your eyes provide constant information about your surroundings. They tell your brain where the floor is, how far away objects are, whether the ground is level, whether something is moving around you. As vision changes with age, balance often becomes more difficult. Cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, even needing a stronger pair of glasses can affect how steady you feel. This is one reason regular eye examinations remain so important after 70. Better vision doesn't just help you read, it helps keep you on your feet. Now, here's another factor that many people overlook: medication. Many common medications can contribute to dizziness or unsteadiness. Blood pressure medications, sleep medications, certain allergy medications, some anxiety medications, some antidepressants. Even medications that have been taken safely for years can begin affecting the body differently as we get older. Why? Because aging changes how medications are processed. Kidney function gradually changes, liver function changes, body composition changes. A dose that felt perfectly normal 10 years ago may have a stronger effect today. That's why it's important to review medications regularly with your healthcare provider. Not because medications are bad, because the body changes and treatment sometimes needs to change with it. Now, let's talk about one of the most overlooked causes of dizziness after 70: low blood sugar. Even people who don't have diabetes can occasionally experience drops in blood sugar, skipping meals, eating very little during illness, certain diabetes medications, long periods without food. All of these situations can leave the brain with less fuel than it needs. The result can be shakiness, weakness, sweating, difficulty concentrating, or dizziness. The brain depends on a steady supply of glucose to function normally. When that supply drops, symptoms often appear quickly. Now, let's discuss another surprisingly common issue: poor sleep. Many seniors don't sleep as deeply as they once did. They wake several times during the night. Some have sleep apnea. Others struggle with insomnia. When the brain doesn't receive enough restorative sleep, reaction time slows, attention declines, balance becomes less reliable. Studies have shown that chronic sleep deprivation can affect coordination almost as much as alcohol in some situations. That's remarkable. It reminds us that balance depends on much more than our legs. It depends on the brain functioning at its best. Now, let's talk about fear, because fear itself can affect balance. Imagine someone who has already experienced one fall. The next time they walk outside, they're more cautious. Their muscles become tense. Their steps become shorter. They look down constantly. Ironically, that fear often makes balance worse. This creates a cycle. A person feels unsteady. They become afraid of falling. Because they're afraid, they move less. As they move less, muscles become weaker. As muscles become weaker, balance declines further. The cycle continues. Breaking that cycle is incredibly important because confidence plays a much larger role in mobility than most people realize. Finally, let's discuss one of the most important lessons of all. The body rarely sends just one warning sign. Instead, it sends patterns. Maybe you've become slightly slower getting out of a chair. Maybe you're reaching for furniture while walking. Maybe you've stopped taking evening walks because you don't feel as steady. Maybe family members have noticed changes before you have. These small clues matter because they often appear months before a serious fall occurs. The good news is that balance problems are not something you simply have to accept. Many of the most common causes can be identified and many can be improved. The key is recognizing them early. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. Because there are simple daily habits that can dramatically reduce dizziness, improve stability, and help you stay confident on your feet well into your 70s and beyond. Now, let's talk about the question every senior eventually asks: what can I actually do about it? The good news is that many of the causes of dizziness and unsteadiness after 70 can be improved. Not overnight, not with a miracle cure, but through small, consistent habits that help your body work the way it's designed to. Let's start with hydration. It sounds almost too simple, but it may be one of the most overlooked ways to reduce dizziness. As we age, the body contains less water than it once did. At the same time, the sensation of thirst becomes weaker. That means many older adults are mildly dehydrated without realizing it. Even a small loss of body fluid can reduce blood volume. When blood volume decreases, the heart has less fluid to pump. Blood pressure may fall. The brain may receive slightly less blood during sudden movements. That's when lightheadedness often appears. Try making hydration a routine instead of waiting until you feel thirsty. A glass of water when you wake up, another with meals, another during the afternoon. If your doctor has placed you on a fluid restriction because of heart failure or kidney disease, always follow those instructions. But for many seniors, drinking enough fluids throughout the day can make a noticeable difference. Now, let's talk about one of the simplest habits for preventing falls. Don't rush when you stand up. Many people jump out of bed the moment they wake up, or they spring out of a chair after sitting for a long time. After 70, your circulation often needs a few extra seconds to adjust. Instead, try this. When getting out of bed, first sit on the edge of the mattress. Take a few slow breaths. Move your feet. Let your legs wake up. Then stand slowly. Pause for a moment before walking. Those 10 or 15 seconds may prevent a fall that could change your life. Now, let's discuss exercise. Some people hear the word exercise and immediately picture heavy weights or long workouts. That's not what we're talking about. The most important exercises for balance are often simple: walking, standing on your toes while holding a sturdy chair, practicing sitting down and standing back up, gentle leg strengthening, balance exercises recommended by a physical therapist. These movements help strengthen the muscles that keep you upright every day. The stronger those muscles become, the more confidently they respond when you lose your balance. That's important because none of us can avoid every stumble. The goal isn't to avoid every trip. The goal is giving your body the strength to recover before you fall. And if you want the option with some of the strongest evidence behind it, consider Tai Chi. It looks gentle, slow, flowing movements, but a 2023 review of 24 clinical trials found it reduced the risk of falling in older adults by about 24%. Many senior centers offer beginner classes. Now, let's talk about footwear. You'd be surprised how often shoes contribute to balance problems. Loose slippers, high heels, worn out soles, shoes without proper grip, all of these increase fall risk. Your feet are the foundation of your balance. If the foundation isn't stable, everything above it becomes less stable too. Supportive shoes with good traction may not seem exciting, but they can make a meaningful difference, especially on smooth floors or uneven sidewalks. Now, let's discuss your home. Many falls don't happen outdoors. They happen inside familiar surroundings. Loose rugs, electrical cords, poor lighting, cluttered hallways, slippery bathroom floors. These hazards become much more dangerous when dizziness is added to the picture. Sometimes preventing a fall has nothing to do with medication. It has everything to do with removing unnecessary obstacles, a brighter nightlight, a grab bar in the shower, handrails on both sides of the stairs, non-slip mats. Small changes like these often provide enormous protection. Now, let's return to medications. If you've noticed new dizziness after starting a medication or after changing the dose, don't stop taking it on your own. Instead, talk with your healthcare provider. Sometimes the timing of the medication can be adjusted. Sometimes the dose needs to change. Sometimes another medication is contributing to the problem. These decisions should always be made together with the professional managing your care. Remember, medications that lower blood pressure, improve sleep, relieve pain, or treat anxiety can all influence balance. The goal isn't to avoid medication. The goal is making sure every medication continues to work safely for your current body. Now, here's something many seniors overlook: regular hearing and vision checks. Most people think these appointments are only about hearing conversations or reading books, but both hearing and vision contribute to balance. Good vision helps your brain understand where your body is in space. Healthy inner ears help detect movement. When either system begins to decline, balance often becomes more difficult. The effect is bigger than most people imagine. Researchers at Johns Hopkins found that even mild hearing loss, the level many people don't consider worth treating, was linked to nearly 3 times the risk of falling. Every additional 10 decibels of loss raised the risk further. Your ears are not just for conversation. They are part of your balance equipment. Correcting vision with updated glasses, treating cataracts, managing hearing problems, all of these steps may improve confidence while walking. Now, let's talk about nutrition. Your muscles, nerves, and brain all depend on proper nutrition. Not eating enough protein can contribute to muscle loss. Low levels of certain vitamins, including vitamin B12, can sometimes affect nerve function and balance. Skipping meals may lead to weakness. Poor nutrition doesn't usually create dizziness overnight, but over months or years, it can gradually reduce the body's ability to stay strong and steady. Here's a simple way to measure where you stand literally. It's called the Timed Up and Go test, a screening tool the CDC recommends to doctors. Sit in a sturdy chair with armrests. Start a timer, stand up, walk 10 feet at your normal pace, turn around, walk back, and sit down again. Stop the timer. If it takes you 12 seconds or longer, that doesn't automatically mean something is wrong. It means your fall risk is higher and it deserves a conversation with your healthcare provider. Repeat the test once a month and write down the result. The trend matters more than any single number. Now, let's discuss something that many seniors hesitate to do, asking for help. Some people avoid mentioning dizziness because they don't want to worry their family. Others fear losing their independence, but staying silent often delays solutions. The earlier balance problems are evaluated, the more options usually exist. Sometimes it's a medication adjustment, sometimes it's physical therapy, sometimes it's treating an inner ear condition, sometimes it's simply improving hydration. The important thing is finding the cause, not guessing. Now, here's the message I hope you'll remember most. Feeling dizzy or unsteady after 70 does not automatically mean something serious is wrong. But it also shouldn't automatically be dismissed as just old age. Your body communicates through symptoms: dizziness, lightheadedness, unsteadiness, fatigue, changes in walking. These are messages. Sometimes they're small messages, sometimes they're important warnings. Either way, they're worth paying attention to. The people who remain active and independent the longest aren't necessarily the strongest. They're the ones who notice changes early. They stay curious. They ask questions. They work with their healthcare providers instead of ignoring symptoms. Because balance isn't just about avoiding falls, it's about protecting your independence. It's about continuing to enjoy morning walks, gardening, traveling, playing with grandchildren, shopping on your own, living confidently. Every steady step helps preserve the life you've worked so hard to build. So, if you've been feeling dizzy or unsteady lately, don't assume you simply have to live with it. There may be a reason, and many of those reasons can be addressed the sooner you understand what's happening inside your body. The sooner you can take steps to stay stronger, steadier, and safer in the years ahead. If you found this information helpful, stay with us for more practical conversations about senior health, balance, heart health, circulation, and the science behind healthy aging after 70